All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio, and we're up to the interview portion of the program right now, and we're pleased to welcome in somebody who's been through a lot here over the last few months, and I'm sure she'll have a lot to say about all her dealings with the business, but it's Aloisia, and and I've been telling her in the pre-interview portion here that I'm having a terrible time saying her name, and I'm sure she'll correct me throughout the interview, but she was going to be with NXT, and then she came to terms with the WWE to break that contract and get back out into the indies. She started in 2008. She's 6'9", by the way, and I guess that's one of the tallest women in the world, I'm sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about all that stuff and more. But right now, welcome to the show, Aloisia, and we appreciate you coming on the program.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your start in the business. What actually brought you into it? Were you always a fan, or were you kind of brought in because of your size, or how did you get involved?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I had watched Friday Night SmackDown, and I saw Chyna, DX, and Chris Jericho, and I just remember how outrageous it was and how much fun it was. But then I kind of grew older, and basketball was shoved down my throat because I was tall, and, I had a lot of problems domestically. So when I was on the verge of 21, I kind of had to sit down and plan out what I wanted to do for a career. And I remember how fun and how many talents that I basically had inside that I could apply to the world. And I thought, what a better way than through sports entertainment. And, my idolization for Chyna, I kind of just came to a conclusion that I needed to be in WWE.
Right. Because that's where your hero was and all that kind of stuff?
Right. It only made sense to me.
Right, yeah. So how did you get involved? Did somebody see you somewhere just because of you? I mean, you are 6'9". I mean, you do stand out in the crowd. I'm 6'4", and you would even be towering over me. So I guess you kind of stood out in the crowd. Were you picked up like that, or did you approach a company?
No, I wanted to approach a company, so I was Googling stuff down here, but I was also a model, so I was working a trade show in Miami. And I met up with a school that was there, and they brought me in, Jimmy Superfly Snuka School.
Yeah.
And they happened to see me there and let me come to their practices, and it was, great from there.
Yeah. And so how did the deal with NXT come up? I mean, how did that whole deal, because I'm sure people listening would like to know how you got that gig, because you were basically an indie worker, right?
Right.
Yeah. So how did you come about where you got into the NXT deal?
Well, I had a tryout last year with WWE, and then I had another one in August. And basically they called me and they wanted me to be the sixth and final Diva on NXT.
Really? And so
yeah.
So and they just called you just out of the blue, or how did that come about?
Yeah, they called me out of the blue.
Wow. And you were working you were working for another company at the time?
It's not that I was working for another company. I was just doing a lot of things. I was I had a reality show on this project, and, I just had a lot going on that was more acting related, and I wanted to start getting into, action roles,
Sure, yeah. So you worked for I noticed in your bio you worked for the Juggalo Championship. That's the clown guys down there. Did you do one of their big midnight events that they have?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about that stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's so much fun. It's the most fun I've ever had in any promotion. It's crazy fun. You drive 2 hours away from the airport and the hotel, and you just go to the middle of nowhere. You don't have any cell reception. It's just, and then there's just thousands of people out there just having fun. It's so chill and relaxed. It's great. You get to go out there, perform, do what you got to do, listen to great music. You're surrounded by a great atmosphere. It's fantastic.
That's pretty cool. And that's not. Did I read somewhere that that's out in the middle of a is it in a desert?
Not a desert. I mean, I'm not really sure exactly where it is.
So what, they do blindfold you before they got you out there? one of those top secret deals.
Right.
Yeah, I got you. So you also worked for Carlos Colon, right, in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
For the WWC?
Right.
Yeah, and how was that for you to actually wrestle in Puerto Rico?
It was great. It was definitely a different experience. They had obviously there was a language barrier.
Right.
But it was just, you went down so many little winding roads. One time the guy was going 60 miles an hour. We're turning a corner, on a cliff. There's nothing protecting us from flying over.
Right.
Just to get to the show on time. And, all you do is, beep before you go around a corner. It's a one-way cliff road. You know what I mean?
Sure,
It's,
yeah.
insane. But, I mean, it was great there. The audience is way more into it. They're more fanatic about it.
Right.
And the kids the kids are just fantastic. They just like believe the whole thing, and they're just like, oh, they're so into the storylines and so into the story.
Sure,
it's
yeah.
fantastic. I've only worked there I was there for like a week, so I wasn't there for long, but
okay.
It's a great experience.
So you did a short tour there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So you were telling us a little bit about your training. Who actually? And you said you started at snooker school.
Yeah.
And you trained under who?
Snooker.
Oh, he trained you personally?
Well, he was there. It's his school. There were a few other trainers that were there.
Right. And how long did you train with those guys?
About not that long, like a year, if that.
Right. And then you started picking up indie dates for him or for
other
people?
Well, for them too. Like I was training for them for like 4 months, and then they kind of wanted to use me in their promotion. And I learned like basic giant stuff. I never learned how to really wrestle or grapple or anything like that. So what I've been focusing on more lately is trying to get my fundamentals down.
Sure, yeah. Well, I guess they were saying they were going to bring you in as the monster and bring you in and where you really didn't have to have a lot of technical wrestling. Probably, I'm sure they were using you more as just like the giant deal, right?
Yeah, like everyone else,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. So you say you're currently working on picking up some basic fundamentals? Are you back into a school, or are you just working with different people? Or how's that going for you?
Well, right now I have a personal trainer, and I'm going to be moving to Tampa full time in about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So yeah, anything is possible.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the NXT deal now. So did you actually? I know you cut a promo there for television with Vicky Guerrero, right?
Right.
Where did he do those things at?
We did it in a bunch of different places. There was a warehouse in Tampa that we went to. There was a couple of places. We did in FCW. We did in the main arena and the practice arena. There's a few different places, but yeah.
I got you. The storyline idea was that she released you because you guys had a falling out or something. Take us through that.
Okay, well, the storyline is that Vicky Guerrero fired because she was intimidated and trying to teach me her ways. I stood up to her and was like, no, I'm not going to be taught your ways. Your ways are awful.
Yeah, right.
You're not a wrestler. What are you going to teach me? I'm a giant. I could just go around pushing people.
Sure, absolutely.
And that was the storyline. She basically fired me because she got scared and intimidated.
So, and then after that, what was the deal? They were going to send you back to FCW, or what was going to happen immediately following that? What was the idea going forward before you left the company?
I don't really want to get the logistics, so I'm just going to say this. When I was taken off of NXT, when I was taken off of TV, I was very disappointed, and we came to an agreement that allowed me to exit the contract, and that's all I can say on that.
Sure. No, my question was, though, when you were storyline, quote unquote, released from the company, and they were going to, I guess, send you back down to FCW for a little while. The idea going forward was from the television standpoint or from the work standpoint of it would have been, what, you're going to go away for a while and then come back and not be NXT. You would have come in like maybe as just to dominate the female division. Was that kind of the idea that you were getting before the release happened?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, so you weren't privy to actually what was going on storyline wise.
Right.
Okay, I got you. That's fair. All right, we're up on a break here with Aloisia on the Inside Wrestling Radio, and we'll be right back. I'm sorry?
Aloisia.
Oh, Aloisia. See, I'm terrible. I'm from the South. What do you want from me?
It's
But
okay.
we'll be right back with Aloisia right after this, Inside Wrestling Radio.